Hi, guys. I'm so excited to be here with you. I live in Michigan, so I live in the United States. When I was younger, I really liked music, theater, pop culture, and I actually wanted to be an actress. So I moved to New York and I lived in New York City for 8 years, tried my hand at that, did a lot of waiting tables and exploring the city, but it really wasn't what I wanted to do. I moved back home, and it was my dad who really helped me kind of figure out what it was that I wanted to do. I really loved music. I loved talking to people, community. And my dad said, "Why don't you go to broadcast school?" So I went to a broadcasting school around here, around where I live, and I got an internship and had a job right out of school. And I've loved it. I've loved it ever since. I've worked in different genres of music. So I've worked on pop stations, country stations, classic hit stations. And now I'm on all over the United States.
One of the kids, is it okay if we just kind of jump into questions? Because I'm starting to get a few of them in the message. And again,
Absolutely.
kids, feel free to message any questions in the chat. One of the kids wants to know, do you ever have to work for a station where you didn't so much listen to the music, but still kind of had to push it on air?
Yes. And that is probably harder. The hardest kind of music for me is like classic rock, where the artists aren't doing anything. So right now in pop culture or in country music, the artists, they have a new perfume or cologne. They're on shows. They have a lot of new music coming out. But I have worked for a lot of older stations where some of the artists are dead and they're not on tour anymore. And you really have to start talking to the person. So when you're on the air, you have to start talking to people about the things that they would like, the things that are going on in their community. So it's a little bit harder, but it's also just a challenge.
Now, when some of the students want to know what kind of things should they be paying attention to or studying as they go off into high school and possibly some of them next year into college, like if they want to pursue a career in broadcast journalism?
Really, it's never too young for you guys to start asking questions, reaching out to people. This is a business, probably like a lot of others, that it's about knowing people, getting to know people, putting yourself out there, being willing to do things that might scare you a little bit. And one of the biggest things of, bits of advice that I can give you is, if there's somebody that you're listening to on the radio, somebody that you're listening to locally by you, send them an email, shoot them an email, say, "Hey, I listen to the show all the time. I'm interested in broadcast journalism. Can I come in and talk to you? Could I schedule a Zoom so that I can learn more about you?" People want to share information with you. And then when you go to apply for a job, maybe later on down the road, and they recognize the name. "Oh, hey, Jose. Oh, hey," they say, "Oh, you know what? He came in and talked to me, and she came in and asked me some really great questions." So I think that right now, reaching out, learning a little bit more about what radio looks like in your area, and listening, because the best way to learn is by listening.
One of the kids wanted to know, and I couldn't agree with you more about the importance of listening. And one of the kids wanted to know, do you see where do you see radio going with the influence of technology?
I started over 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and we all said, "Oh my gosh, what if this is the end of radio? What if this is," I don't really think there will ever be an end to radio in general, because it's a free, this is a free service. You don't have to pay for it. But I do see it's transitioning a lot more into, radio is available on apps. It's available anywhere and all the time. And I think you have the advantage because you also have social media. And Ralph and I, we're not as good at social media. We're learning, and we didn't grow up with it like you guys did. And so that's a big, huge thing too. Social media is now kind of catching on with radio. It coincides. They kind of equally exist.
We have a question from one of our students in Italy. This is Gabriel. Gabriel, you should be able to unmute and ask your question. You had a pretty good question to ask, Madison.
Okay. Hi. After for you listen frequently at a certain song, doesn't become like annoying to that song?
You know what? It can. And when you're live in the studio, you can just turn the song down and then turn it back up at the end of it. But the funny part is, I find that songs become less annoying. They're not as annoying. I actually love it. So when I'm listening to the music, I want to hear it. I listen to it loud. My headphones are always just, blasting. So if you are if you're working for a station that you love the music, and you can play a lot of the music that you want.
That's good too. And for our viewers out there, and we'll put this in the video, what is the website for your main station that the kids can kind of check out?
WHMI.com. So WHMI, and you can listen to the station then online. On 7 to midnight, which is Eastern Standard Time here in the United States. So I'm on at night, and it's a lot of fun, you guys. It is a lot of fun. If you love music and you love communications, being creative, thinking outside the box, and constantly, evolving and being with people, listening to music, it's a great career. It's so much fun.
Can we go with a few more questions and then we'll let you go?
Sure.
Some of the kids wants to know, what are some of the perks of your career?
There are lots of events. So you're on location. Even if you're just at a smaller station, maybe closer to your home, you're still going to lots of little events that are going on in your neighborhood. Then all the way up to, I've met a lot of celebrities, lots of people. I'm not this lucky, but I have friends, Ralph and I have friends whose cell phones are paid for and who get cars to drive. And it just depends on where you are in the spectrum of broadcast. But I would say the main thing really is the experiences. I've done lots of help to do blood drives and help to give back, as well as gotten a lot of fun things, a lot of fun concerts.
One of the kids wanted to know, what is the importance of knowing production when it comes to doing your job?
Huge. Absolutely huge. And I knew nothing about it. I just liked music. I like to sing in the microphone, but schooling, I actually went to a trade school. I did not go to a 4-year university. Here, where Ralph and I grew up, there's a school that's very well renowned for broadcasting. But they taught that to me in a very short period of time. It's always changing. Like you guys had brought up earlier, with technology, it's getting more and more advanced, but production is absolutely hands down huge. And I know you guys can teach a lot of that to yourself, with the internet, with YouTube, but some schooling does help for that, because you're also going to be editing commercials and helping to edit yourself into different things.
One of the kids wanted to know, which American universities or colleges or trade schools would you recommend for students that want to come here to America or in America already and want to pursue a career in broadcast journalism or production?
That I am not as familiar with. I know that I have a lot of friends who have gone just to trade schools that kind of their concentration is broadcasting. Ralph and I have some friends who've gone to Butler and who've gone to the University of Michigan, but I'm not quite as well versed on some of the schools across the United States. I would just say you don't have to attend a 4-year university. I have friends who started internships right out of school, and they were able to build a career upon that. So it doesn't have to be the most expensive, the creme de la creme school to get your training.
So we had and that's a lot of the people that I've ever known in broadcast journalism. Some of the most successful people started out as high school interns,
yes,
and worked their way up and never went to college or trade school. So and some who got like PhDs and master's degrees and all that stuff. We have a question from Blanca in Spain, and you had a really good question, Blanca. Go ahead and ask.
Hello, how do you keep up with every song? Because there are lots of songs released every day, and you might not know every song.
That's very true. I got to tell you, most people who are in radio absolutely love music. So I listen to music while I clean. I listen to music while I'm getting ready. And radio, at least here in the United States, they tend to play a lot of the same music. So when we're on Spotify and we're on Apple Music, there's so much music, but radio tends to be a little bit of a spectrum. They play a lot of, it's a lot, very, very consistent. And once you're working for a specific station, you'll be on the lookout for that kind of music. If you're on a techno or you're on a country station or a pop station, then you can kind of zone in on just that kind of music.
So we have a question from Jose, and I believe he is in Spain. He'll be one of our final questions. Jose, go ahead and unmute. You had an awesome question, man.
I was wondering, which is your favorite thing of part of broadcasting? Which is the thing that motivates you?
The thing that motivates me, I am very outgoing and I really love pop culture. So I'm already looking up on my phone, what's going on around me, what celebrity might have gotten married, or what, maybe when I was your age, I would have wanted to have a YouTube channel or something like that. But that for me is keeping up, informing people, not just about pop culture, but stuff that's going on around me, and keeping up to that, keeping up to date with that, and probably the connection with people, being connected. I like performing, and I like even this being with you guys. I love it. I love the connectedness of radio.
Well, we like being connected to you too, and we can't thank you enough for your time. This is a lot of fun. We have Shanna, who I believe is somewhere in Spain. You should be able to unmute to ask your question, friend.
Yes. Do you like all the music genres you broadcast, for instance, like metal?
I like most of it. Right now, I work on a country music station and I love country music. But I also work on a classic hit station, so classic rock. So it's older music. And I don't know all of the music as well, or you get to know the music, but I don't know all of the artists as well. So when I'm talking about the artists, I have to do a lot of research. I have to get on the internet and find out things that happened to them. And I have to find out when their music came out, because it's not a favorite of mine.
That's a great answer. So our final question, I'll ask the final question. Obviously, you're established in your career and in your industry. What kind of advice would you have for these kids as they kind of go off in the world and figure out what they want to do with their lives?
Really, when you guys are looking, one of the things that I didn't look at when I was in school with Ralph in high school was I really, I wanted to be a performer. I wanted to be in theater. I wanted to be, acting, but I didn't realize that there were many jobs, many things that really I could have done that was in that facets or in that ballpark. So when you're looking at yourself and you're asking yourself these questions, what do I like to help teach others? Do I like to work alone? Do I like to, a lot of those things. And then you can start to look at some of the careers that fall into that ballpark, because it's not just one. You don't have, it's very rare that someone says, I want to be a teacher when they're 6 and then they go on to want to be a teacher. But do you like all of the things that go with that? Do you like all of the things that it would take to be in broadcasting? Do you like doing the research, and do you like, editing, and do you like working with others and like music? There's a lot of things. And then even that, there are other jobs that could encompass that. So really take a look at yourself and start trying to figure out what is it that I might want to do, and make some lists to help.